Our next guest fell in love with his family allotment.
Farming,
yeah, staying with
we?
farming,
Yes.
because he was just a child and his dad used to let him help on the allotment. And he said he was determined one day, because of that, he'd buy his own farm. It's taken him a long time.
Well, what a dream, a dream come true. And he did that at the age of 40. That was 20-odd years ago. His name is Wilfred Emmanuel Jones. He calls himself the Black Farmer. And he wants to encourage more people like him, because he's a bit of a rarity, it has to be said, from all sorts of backgrounds, to go out there into agriculture and help change also, Wilfred, the food industry, not just being a farmer, but what we get from the land or what's available in our supermarkets, my friend. Tell us what this mission is that you're on.
Well, good morning to you. First of all, this is really exciting for me to be here, actually. I feel like a reporter because I've got this mic in my ear, standing in front of the camera, and totally live, so, you know, I can't mess this one up. But if you look around, you can see why I absolutely wanted to have a place like this. I'm right here near St Giles on the Heath, and it's fantastic. Now, originally, I'm from Birmingham, a place called Small Heath in Birmingham, and there's 11 of us in my family, and my father had an allotment. And in fact, just around the corner, I've created my own little mini allotment in honour of the allotment that my father had. And whilst I was at that allotment, that I decided that one day I would like to have my own farm. And you could see, it is absolutely wonderful. But it's really difficult to actually have your own farm if you come from an immigrant family, because traditionally, farms are handed down through the generations, and so you need to get a lot of money to buy a land. And what I would like to see, the lands that are owned by big institutions, be that the church, be that the National Trust, those lands are leased out and rented out to normal, traditional families. It'd be really good if they started to sort of lease that land out to people from diverse backgrounds. It would be brilliant for the industry because we need to have new blood, and it will give people like me from my backgrounds an opportunity to get part of British countryside.
I mean, Wilfred, you call yourself the Black Farmer. Are there people that you deal with who are uncomfortable? I mean, I'm having to you know, make it clear that you call yourself that, because I think if I called you that, people might have something to say about it. So are you purposely being controversial? Is it to make people sit up and take notice of you? What reaction have you had with supermarkets when you've been trying to sell your produce?
Well, I mean, it is obvious that I'm black, and I can't see how anybody's going to be offended by the fact that I'm out there advertising that I am black. It is true that I'm able to market myself as a black farmer because there just isn't any black farmers around. And so, you know, that is an advantage. And I can remember when I started my brand, people were slightly confused. They were thinking, black farmer, they just don't see black people as owning farms in the UK, so it causes a bit of confusion. So, if I could try to create opportunities for others by people being out there, being made aware that actually there isn't many black farmers around, and therefore we've got to try our bit to encourage more into the country, I think that would be a good thing.
But meanwhile, you're there, you're a pioneer. Does it make your life difficult? And what I'm referring to is, you probably read last week the Countryfile presenter, Ellie Harrison. And she said, in the countryside, there is work to do. In asking whether the countryside is racist, then I have to say, yes, it is. What's your experience of that? What would you like to add to that?
I get really upset when people from upcountry, as we call them, accuse people from the rural community of being racist. I just think that is so unfair. I personally have got more racism being in the city than being down in the rural parts of Britain. The amount of times I've been into the headquarters of big buildings and they think I'm the minicab driver coming to pick up a member of staff, that happens to me all of the time. And I think one of the things about living in rural Britain, your security is with the people you know. So any stranger, whether you're black and white, is going to make people curious about what is that person sort of doing here? So I get very, very cross when people from upcountry start saying that they're all racist down here, because that ain't my experience.
What is your experience now in terms of what you want to change? You're from an Afro-Caribbean background, and yet you're talking about how foodstuff is available, how we're all educated about it, how people from Afro-Caribbean backgrounds may not get the foodstuffs that they're used to, that they want, that are part of their culture. What do you want to see changed, and how can it be changed?
Well, in fact, I am one of the original Windrush children. Yeah. I still have my blue passport, which has the British and Commonwealth on it, and I had to change it. I had to become nationalised, become a British citizen. Now, one of the things that you'll probably be aware of is that this is Black History Month. And one of the things I wanted to do was to do a big initiative, especially this year of all years, to really get people to see the contributions that Black people have made to British history. And that's why I came up with two sausages. One's a chicken jerk and one's a pork jerk, celebrating jerk seasoning. Jerk is what people in the Caribbean has given the rest of the world. And to have flavours like that more available. So I hope when people actually see these products, A, they'll go and buy them because they taste really fantastic. But also the money that, the profits from those products are going to go and contribute to two very important charities. One is the Mary Sequel Trust, and the other one is the Black Culture Archives. That is going to help people to get a lot more education about the role that Black people have had in British history.
Well, you're continuing to make your mark and have your own rule. Congratulations, by the way, on your MBE. In the honours list, and that was for services to British farming. What do you think, Wilfred, your parents would make of that boy who was on the allotment, who's now got his own farm and he's got an MBE for services to British farming?
I don't know what my parents would have thought, but when they said to me I got an MBE, I thought, my God, this was so unexpected. So it's something that I feel is a great sort of privilege. And it then goes to demonstrate that if you're out there and you're trying to make change, that there are people in powerful places who are noticing and then commending you for that. So I'm very, very pleased. My mom and dad are very, very pleased. This year, unfortunately, because of COVID, I haven't had a chance to go to the palace to go through all the rigmarole you have to go through in getting the award. But I'm sure they'll come up with something at a later date.
Now, look, you look more like a rancher than a farmer. You look like somebody from Dallas, basically, with that hat and everything. You've got real personality. You're really flamboyant. What sort of farm do you have? Describe the farm to us. Is it a mixed farm? Is it cereals? Is it livestock? What is it?
Now, this is cattle country, and I'm standing in a field, actually, where the cows escaped the other day, and they've poached the whole field. So this part of Devon is very much cattle country. So we'll have dairy. In the fields, there's still some dairy cows out, but they'll be going inside for the winter. So, yeah, this is very, very much sort of dairy country.
You should bring out a whole clothing range, mate.
Yeah.
Country clothing, because there's nothing like that on the market.
That's the coolest farmer I've ever seen.
I tell you what, actually, I've got to tell you a story. I did that one day, actually, launch a clothing range, and it failed. And you know why it failed?
Why?
It's because it's women who are the ones who decide what their men wear. And women want their men to dress down. So women are the ones who are responsible for their men going around looking shoddy.
Don't blame us, Wilfred. Don't you start blaming us.
Spot on. I say it here all the time. We should have men's fashion items on this programme, which we don't do.
Well, Wilfred should come and do a fashion item.
Because women will be the viewers on it. Women decide. How often do you give me that look like, are you really going to wear that?
Not often, actually, so I think you dress very well. Wilfred, we look forward to it. It was lovely to meet you. Maybe you can come in and do a fashion item for us one day when you're not busy on the farm. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Fancy pants. Look at him.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.